Brothers and sisters, welcome. Pro-life leader Frank Pavone here. This is the segment where I just tell you what I did every day. I think it's a good exercise in accountability and transparency. Monday, November the 4th through Thursday, November the 7th, 2024. These were some of the most intense and also some of the most joyful and grateful days of my life and of my work. You know why. We went through the election day of 2024. So on Monday the 4th, the day before election day, early work at my desk. Some of the items I had to deal with were social media approvals and strategies with our team for last minute things, including with Silent No More social media, email appeal approval, Patriot Mobile partnership work, work on our upcoming mailing of our travelogue, approval of emails going out, and planning of trips. Did work at my desk, came in here at 10 and did the live scripture broadcast. More work at the desk, checking in with staff, all of us in intensive communication. At 11:30, our executive director and I went to get some lunch down the road here and stopped in at one of the stores up there that's starting to get its Christmas things. We decided to just take a little midday mental break from the election and did that, but then came right back. At 1 p.m. we had a call with our friend who is the head of Anglicans for Life and co-founder of Silent No More. We had a strategic call with her for about half an hour. And then I had more desk work, a couple of phone calls, and then 3 o'clock, very, very intense time of prayer here in the studio with using the rosary and the chaplet, and so many, very many people tuning into that. And then right back to my desk and to my staff and just getting all the last minute things done that we can possibly do to motivate and mobilize our supporters to vote. After a quick dinner, I had the 8 o'clock live show getting ready for the election, the evening of the election, and that went very well also. Then came election day. Let me tell you how I how I spend election day. Of course, it's availability to other leaders and groups and anyone that has questions or needs assistance in mobilizing voters themselves. But you know, we've had a big voter mobilization program going over all these months, in fact, over these recent years prior to Election Day. And it all culminates on Election Day when, you know, it's the day that you realize you've done everything that you could think of doing, and now it's starting to add, the culmination of the results are starting to unfold. So we had morning meetings with the staff, making sure, you know, the last minute emails that are going out and other communications are doing well, all the different pre-taped broadcasts. And then at 10 o'clock, I did a live broadcast, the scripture live. And then, let's see, I had any kind of, some work in terms of mailings and communication, last minute communication with state leaders, especially in the states with the abortion ballot measures, and various other kinds of desk work like that. Into the afternoon, when at 3 o'clock I had the final Chaplet of Divine Mercy and Rosary broadcast for the election. And again, very, very large audience. People were just, by this point, saying, Lord, I've done everything I can, and I'm just begging you for the victory now. And then we went into the late afternoon, checking in with staff, final updates for the end of the day. Now, here's my philosophy about Election Day. By the time it got to after dinner, I was tired. And, of course, final voting was occurring. The polls were starting to close. And then the night watch, the watch began, where you sit and watch the elections results coming in step by step. Except I don't do that. I went to bed. I went to bed very, very early. I think of Psalm 127 on election night. It says, that's the psalm where it says, you know, unless the Lord builds the house, your labor is in vain. In vain is your earlier rising, your going later to rest. You who toil for the bread you eat, while he pours gifts on his beloved while they slumber. So on election night, first of all, I was just very, very tired. I was getting sleepy anyway. But it usually is my practice to go to bed. And I say a simple prayer going to bed on election night. Lord, give me sleep and give us victory. Well, I slept well until about 3:30 in the morning. But even though I woke up, I said, you know what, we probably have a result here, but I'm going to sleep a little bit longer. Because then what happens is the next day, you've got to be on target, you've got to be on point, you've got to be ready to answer questions from the media, you've got to be ready to go the full day and the full evening. Ended up getting up about 5, and boy, was I elated when on the morning of Wednesday, November 6th, I, together with everyone else, saw the results of this glorious election. What do I do on the morning after a victorious election night? I get my phone out, I put on full volume, Stars and Stripes Forever. I put it on repeat, and I walk around our building outside just in a jubilant way. It's almost like a little parade I do myself with Stars and Stripes Forever playing. What a glorious morning it was, filled with gratitude to you, to the Lord, and to everybody around the country that made this victory possible. Starting, of course, with President Trump himself. In terms of outside of God's grace, it's the candidate himself who wins. So what happened as the day unfolded? Well, I had an 8:30 a.m. media interview, national media interview about the election results. Followed immediately by initial meetings with staff for immediate election reaction. Obviously, we had to send out our press release. Got the press release ready, got some letters ready in the morning to go out to our supporters reflecting the election results. A website updates immediately that I had to approve and certain things I had to write. So all that stuff got done first thing in the morning. The local Republican club meets at our headquarters every once in a while, so what a morning to meet, right? So I stopped in and said a few words to them, the North Brevard Republican Club. Then I came in here to the studio to do a live broadcast at 10 a.m. with scripture reflections and with great jubilation about the election results. Right after the scripture broadcast at 10:30, I had another national interview that went for about an hour for Real America's Voice. Very, very important election analysis and conversation. Had lunch. Then I had another media interview at 1:30 to 2, arranged through a representative of outreach for the Republican National Committee. And then as soon as that was over, took a quick 5-minute break, back in the studio for another hour-long show. Actually, what was it here? That one was about 40 minutes. Another national podcast to comment on election results. And then at 3 o'clock, did a Rosary of Thanksgiving. So we did a live broadcast, Rosary Chaplet, and some comments to the people about that. When that was finished, then we heard that Kamala Harris was going to give her speech, and so I watched for that while doing some work at my desk, catching up with staff, making sure all of our immediate post-election reactions were getting out there on social media and elsewhere. Had a quick dinner, and then at 8 p.m., our executive director joined me here together with Rob, our producer, and we did the evening live broadcast, election analysis broadcast, jubilation celebration. It was really nice. 8 p.m. We went till about 9:15. Good night's sleep, and then Thursday the 7th, got up early and started strategizing about different broadcasts we had to do today. Some work at my desk regarding, let me catch up some of the Wednesday stuff along with the Thursday stuff. So approval of press releases, plans for the pro-life leaders election follow-up call that we had scheduled for Thursday the 7th. Plan for our approval of our newsletter mailings, our Patriot Mobile partnership, some work on that. Reports from leaders from West Virginia about their successful amendment stopping physician-assisted suicide, more preparation for the leaders meeting, getting more work done with the advertising for pro-life groups, follow-up commentary on the Catholic vote in particular, which President Trump won in a strong way, updating some of our texts for thank you notes that go out, updating them in the light of the election results, and some scheduling of administrative meetings. And let's see, did have some pre-taping in the morning for some upcoming programs. 10 o'clock live show for the scripture reflections. 11:30 a meeting with our executive administrator Mark, and then it was at 11:30, and then 11:45 went into the staff cafe here and got a quick lunch. Oh, I didn't mention that the day before, how did I skip that? We had a special staff celebratory lunch together with a toast and just observing the election victory. That was on Wednesday. So Thursday, from noon until 2, I was privileged to be on a live briefing with the experts over at Cook Political Report. So cookpolitical.com is a source I often recommend to you for election analysis, and they gave a great briefing to their subscribers. At 2 o'clock, I had, when that briefing was finished, I had a meeting with some of my staff about the broadcast schedule post-election in the immediate days following. At 3 o'clock, Janet Morana, our executive director, and I led a call that went for about an hour and 15 minutes with national and state pro-life leaders. The state leaders came from the states that had the ballot initiatives, some of which passed, some of which were stopped. So we had a very fruitful discussion, obviously everyone in high gear and getting ready to not only celebrate the victories, but build on them and strategize going forward for the movement. So this was the first of many post-election meetings with pro-life leaders. After that, I had to tape another program for Praying for America for Friday night. End of year reports, more communication with staff, and then in the evening I did a live broadcast right here in the studio for our Praying for America program. And there you have it, some of the most intense, some of the most joyful days that I've ever had. We're continuing to celebrate with joy. I hope you are too. This is a big boost for our pro-life movement and a great blessing for the saving of our nation. We'll talk to you soon.